All right, reunited, and it feels so good. Jason Teasley has come to the show. The Pigskin Pick 2018 Week 3 rundown is what we're titling this show. And Teasley, me and you've done podcasts, specifically a sports podcast way back in the day called The Cheap Seats. We've got our Pigskin Pick'em that we do. You've been in it for what, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now?
About 4. I think I think you started it 1 year, and then the very next year I came in on year 2 is when I joined. So however long you've been running it, I've missed out on 1 year.
Okay, so you've been in there for a while, and you jumped in this year. You're going. What's your tagline? Your handle?
I did this little Facebook name thing a couple of years ago, about 2 years ago, and it said, what would your name be if it wasn't Jason? And it gave me this really awesome name, and it has become my moniker across my fantasy football teams and everything. Okay. I'm officially known as the HoboSamurai.
The HoboSamurai. All right. Like we do every week here on this show, we're going to throw out a couple big news stories from the NFL. So I'll go ahead and start us off because I think the biggest story this week has got to be the drought finally ending for the Cleveland Browns as they find their first win since I think it was December of 2016.
It was like 665 days or something. The victory fridges are open.
That's right. That is right. Cleveland was in a drunken stupor most of the night and then a hangover the rest of the morning.
I'm pretty sure nobody worked Friday. I'm thinking Friday was declared a city-wide holiday.
Yes, sir. Okay, full disclosure, I don't watch a whole lot of football, just namely because I don't have cable. Cut the cord a while back, and I've not gone out and got off my butt and bought an antenna, so I don't really watch games a whole lot. That night, it just felt like it was going to be something special. Early on, I'm sitting there in my easy chair, playing some video games, but keeping track of the scores of the score of the game as it comes across on the updates. And I'm sitting there, and it's 14-0 Jets. And I'm trying to resist throwing my phone across the room. This was supposed to be the night, you know. This was supposed to be the win that the Browns would get finally. Then a crazy turn of events happen, and Tyrod Taylor goes out with a concussion right before the half is over.
Yeah, second quarter, right before half.
The rookie, the one that a lot of people are pinning their hopes on, the quarterback Baker Mayfield, comes in to helm the team. Now, so can you give me an idea of your thoughts on Baker Mayfield?
My initial thoughts or my thoughts now? Because my initial thoughts was Johnny Manziel 2.0. I thought he was overhyped. I thought Cleveland made a huge mistake by taking him at 1. Mayfield was probably my 5th quarterback to come off the board when I did my mock draft.
Oh, no kidding.
I was not a fan of him. He's got, like I said, Manziel 2.0 is what I initially thought. A lot of hype, a lot of potential. Just didn't have it between the ears. I thought he would be a boom or bust. But in preseason, he showed a lot of poise. He showed he was not as flamboyant on the field as what he was in college. Mm-hmm. And I started looking at him a little bit differently. And then when he came into the game Thursday night, I looked at my wife and said, Cleveland's going to lose again. Yeah. I text my cousin. I said, here's your boy. He's going to bust. I said, in front of the nation. And he said, you know, he believed like I do. He's a lifelong Cleveland fan like you. He was like, I'm right there with you. I think Cleveland made a mistake. And then he started moving the ball. He started making the right decisions. He started making the right reads. And I was like, wow. Mm-hmm. I kind of stepped back and started looking at the game a little bit better. And I actually think on this team and this group of receivers, he is a better fit than Taylor. And I was a big Tyrod Taylor fan. I thought he was going to be a nice transition quarterback, let Mayfield learn under him. Taylor's a nice quarterback he was mobile, he had a good arm. Why Buffalo let him go? It's beyond me. but he was just one of those quarterbacks that what they call a bridge quarterback. Bridging past the present, just kind of the stopgap. And I was like, yeah, I kind of like his fit, but there was just something that wasn't clicking with Taylor. But when Mayfield came in, it was just like he started making the reads like a veteran quarterback, and I was taken back, and I'll be one of the first people to admit that he's living up to the hype of the number one pick. And like I said, I mean, if he keeps it up, I'll eat crow yet again. But I'm just a little worried that a half does not make a career.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, as a Browns fan, guess what? I'm used to being disappointed in quarterbacks.
Well, the true test is when Cleveland faces a stout Baltimore team, and they face Pittsburgh again. Everybody wants to point to the Pittsburgh game that kicked off the season, the tie, as, this is just... No, if you go back and actually watch that game, Pittsburgh could have easily handed Cleveland their butts. But a lot of mistakes that were made on Pittsburgh's behalf made that game end up as a tie. Not taking anything away from Cleveland, but the true test of Mayfield's going to be when he does play a Pittsburgh team and he does play the Ravens. See how he measures up then. Those are two games that you're going to have to fight for your life. They're interdivision games, they're rivalry games. You get a lot of smash mouth football, which we're going to touch on one of my topics I bring to the table, and you get to measure your worth.
But that game was what I called magical, where they lose their quarterback, they throw the rookie in there, down 2 scores, and by the end of the game, at home, the Browns are able to come out on top and end this horrible, horrible, long streak. Now, the 2 teams that have the longest losing streak are actually the Oakland Raiders with 7 losses, and we play them next week in week 4. So I'm hoping and praying, but we're going to Oakland. Did the Texans win? I can't remember if the Texans won this past week.
No, they did not win. They played my Giants.
Oh,
they played my Giants. My Giants pulled off that win.
That's right. So there's the other one. I think the Texans are at 8 losses. 8 losses, I believe, streak of 8. So anyway, there we go. Browns win. It's exciting. I mean, my goodness, it couldn't have happened on better circumstances, in my opinion. What a game. So my other thing is, and Pat Mullen actually suggested it was upset central, man. This week, week 3. My goodness, we had some upsets in this week, and I want to go ahead and bring up some of the stats. I went through, and by golly, I made some notes today, Jason Teasley.
We've already ventured way different than cheap seats. You're actually prepared.
Yeah, buddy. So here you go. I'm taking a look at Yahoo for week 3, and when you do your picks, people probably see this all the time when they're doing their picks, but you can see over on the right-hand side, like, the confidence that all the Yahoo users have in these teams that have made picks already. And Minnesota, of all the Yahoo users that picked, Minnesota was favored 99% over Buffalo. Buffalo ends up winning that game. So 98% favored the Jags over Tennessee. Tennessee is able to upset them. And really the biggest upset in my opinion, but apparently, well, I still call it a pretty big upset when it's 96% favor the New England Patriots over the Detroit Lions. Detroit pulls out a unpredictable win. My question to you, Jason Teasley, we talk about those 3 big upsets, and there were others that happened throughout the week, but of those 3 teams, Minnesota, Jacksonville, and New England, they got upset by some pretty, what we assumed were weak teams going into week 3. Who do you think of those 3 teams should be the least concerned about their upset loss?
My least concern is the Vikings. I mean, they just could not get on track. Buffalo was playing with, they say that the worst opponent is playing one that has nothing to lose. Buffalo has nothing to lose. They have nothing to prove. And they came out and played like that. Minnesota came out a little bit cocky. On the other hand, I think the Jags are trash, and they are not going to make the playoffs this year, and they won't win the division. I actually have Tennessee winning that division. I know I drank some Kool-Aid and woke up in a stupor. I actually have the Tennessee Titans win that game, and I have the Jags finishing 7-9.
Wow.
New England falls in that mid thing. I think New England does have some concerns. The way that things have been shaking out, New England's going to get a run for their money. This might be the first time in a long time that New England does not win the conference. You have a very strong Miami team.
Yes, you do.
And if everything plays out the way that the rumors are swirling, that Jets team is going to become a lot better in the backfield. If that happens, the Jets are going to be a solid team that can contend with. And, that's two teams right there that can give New England a surefire run for their money.
So, all right, Jason Teasley, so there's my two big stories. What do you got for me? What do you want to talk about?
All right, let's talk about the major story. And that's the fact that Clay Matthews is the dirtiest player in the game. Oh, wait, no, he actually knows how to play football and his position and understand that it's a contact sport. This is two horrendous calls on Clay Matthews that has been flagged for roughing the passer.
All right.
What is roughing the passer? They claim that is the tackling of a quarterback and landing with more than half your body weight on the quarterback that could possibly cause injury. I'm sorry. I don't know how a referee can determine what half my body weight is and if that is what landed on the quarterback. So obviously, I've just seen a video today. You're supposed to run at the quarterback, give him a 3-second head start to let him know that you're going to tackle him, get a memory foam pillow ready to lay his pretty little head on, and gently take him to the ground as you sing him a lullaby. And then you still might get flagged, because it might be a song that the referee didn't like. This roughing the passer mess is, oh my God, it's asinine. It's the National Football League, not the National Fairy League, not the No Fun League. It's National Football. It is a contact sport. I'm pretty sure that the founders of what we know as football are rolling over their grave, knowing that this is what the sport has become. I'm pretty sure the strike zone in baseball is a lot bigger than the area you can tackle a quarterback in. So, this is just horrendous. And the fact that it's happened to one of the best defensive players in the game, it's even worse because, one, it led to a tie.
Yeah. Ugh.
So you can imagine that. And two, if you don't want it to be a contact sport, don't play football.
Now, I don't understand the whole body weight thing. Has that been in the rule book?
No,
okay.
No, they just put it in this year.
Wow.
And I think I seen a stat Sunday morning as I was watching one of my pregame shows that roughing the passer penalties are up 316% through the first 3 weeks.
Wow.
Compared to last year.
Oh my gosh.
I think they had the same amount roughing the passer calls the first week than they did the entire season last year.
That is insanity. My gosh.
It was, if this continues, after it's all said and done, there will be 2 roughing the passer penalties per quarter.
Per quarter?
Per quarter. And Pigskin is on the trend that it's going on right now. So you can define a catch in the NFL easier than you can define roughing the passer.
That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right, what's your second story there, Jason Teasley? I know you got another one, right?
The second story is news that broke yesterday afternoon. The Pittsburgh Steelers are now fielding offers for Le'Veon Bell. And this couldn't happen to a better team. They're a sideshow at the circus. I mean, everything's out of hand. Tomlin's has lost this team. And I honestly couldn't agree that it's happening to a better team. You got their star receiver supposedly joking with a former employee saying he wants out of Pittsburgh, trade him. You got a star running back that it gets the poo-poo face because he's not getting the money that he thinks he deserves because, Todd Gurley got a huge contract. He feels that he needs to get a huge contract. And in all honesty, I think the Steelers did him wrong. I think the Steelers should not have franchise tagged him this year. If they wanted him, they should pay him. If they didn't want him, let him go, let him walk. But they didn't do that. They franchise tagged him, which means that he is currently property of the Pittsburgh Steelers to do as they wish until he shows up. When he shows up and signs the tendered agreement, this is my understanding. He has to do it before week 11 and play out the 5 remaining games. Now, if Pittsburgh was to trade him, he would only be required to play for the team he is traded to till the end of the season. Then he becomes an unrestricted free agent, free to go wherever he wants. This is the problem with that. Pittsburgh's not going to get anything near what they think they deserve for him. Why? Because he becomes a free agent at the end of the season regardless. Mm-hmm. So no team's going to give up a huge chunk of their future to get a guy for a couple of games this year with no guarantee going further after this year. Mm-hmm. So Pittsburgh is probably going to ask a lot. They're not going to get anything offered. The Jets are the forerunner and the front runner to possibly make this deal.
No kidding.
They think that if they can get Bell in, it'll give them a legitimate running game, and it'll be the spark that offense needs to make a run toward a title. Problem is, Bell doesn't see them as a winning team, so he doesn't want to play there. Enter the conundrum of, I get traded to you, I'll play, I'll be on the team, I'll show up, do whatever I want, but at the end of the season, I'm walking.
Yeah.
No team wants that. So it's a huge mess. Do I think Le'Veon Bell needs to get paid? Sure. He is one of the premier running backs in the league. Do I think he's being a big baby about it? Most definitely.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. What do you think of this dude's attitude?
It's like I'll go on another touchy subject here. I don't know if I don't want to dive too deep into it. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing as I view Colin Kaepernick. If you're as good as you think you are, prove it. Mm-hmm. You was offered 2 contracts. They wasn't paying you what you thought you deserved to be paid. Then you sign the contract. You play. You show them that you're worth more to get that money. Yeah. But you saying I'm worth something and proving you're worth something is 2 totally different ball games.
That's right. We'll see how things unfold here as the season continues and just what because they're the team I think that is facing the most adversity from themselves. It's a rough thing to see happen. But
I've got if you want to go one more, I've got another one to throw out.
Do it.
Fitz magic to Fitz tragic.
Fitz tragic.
I mean, it's the endless cycle of Fitzpatrick. Starting quarterback gets in trouble. He steps in, plays great, gets a nice paycheck, then suddenly sucks. Gets cut.
What did he have? Did he have he had 4 picks, 3 or 4 picks yesterday.
Yeah, he had. I think he threw 4.
Gosh.
But I mean, it's one of those things that you just gotta take in stride. The sad thing about it is he almost brought him back to win that game. He threw for 400. He was 30 of 50 for 411 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
3 interceptions. Wow. I mean, week 2, they're talking about this guy supposedly being MVP. And I was like, man, really? So there's some weird, very strange headlines here early on in the season. All right, let's get into finishing this show out. So Teasley, it's time we talk about our pick'em here, the Pigskin Pick'em. So we still have 16 players in the pick'em. Okay, I thought somebody was going to drop out. Ronnie had me worried there. He didn't make any picks there last week. I was like, oh, here goes Ronnie again. 1 week here, 1 week gone. He showed up again, and he made some picks this week. So what we're going to do here first is I'm going to do a quick rundown of the week. We'll talk about whatever. You hop in and let me know what you want to talk about, if there's anything you want to talk about. I know I definitely want to focus on where you're sitting at and what you're doing. But yeah, we'll go from bottom to top, and we'll get a summary here of what occurred in the Pigskin Pick'em. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. So, all right, looking at the week, going from bottom to top. So, again, Big Ben makes a showing, picks the games, but doesn't pick any weights. And like I said last week, he's showed up. He's making picks. Great. I'm all right with that. We can at least check to see what his percentage is, and he's participating in some way. Now, let's get up to where our weights start figuring into it. So we have Raider Nation, who's in 15th by 1 point behind 14th spot Freebird. Freebird's 4-point confidence in Miami getting the job done over the Raiders definitely helped him out. All right, so a mere 5 points separate 13th, which is Teasley, HoboSamurai, from 9th, totally 80s Pat. And in the mix are the Perfect Storm, NFL Super Pro, and Dwayne Williams of the Casual Heroes, much of which I think could be contributed to the Denver-Baltimore game, as 3 of the 5 there had Denver and the other 2 taking Baltimore. Who'd you take in that one? Yeah, so you had 3 on Denver, yeah, and unfortunately that game just didn't go your way. Perfect Storm had 11 on Baltimore, so I'll tell you right now, if that game right there was switched, both you and Super Pro would be doing way better. Dwayne and Perfect Storm would be clearly below you guys. So, and that was Pat's pick too. He picked Denver to go into Baltimore and upset them. And you can see Pat stuck with that. He had 6. That was his upset pick of the week. Just didn't turn out so well for you guys. Now another close.
I was highly upset.
Another close race was the race for 5th as SBP Ronnie splits the field. Welcome back, Ronnie. SBP Ronnie splits the field in 8th spot thanks to a 13-point weight on the New Orleans Saints. That game right there against the Falcons was a shootout, goes to OT. The New Orleans Saints beat the Atlanta Falcons, and so that 13 points helped Ronnie up into 8th. Now, he was behind only 1 point to a tie for 6th between Sewin and Steel Curtain. And then in 5th place sits Go Luck Yourself. I mean, these 4 spots were only separated by 2 points total. So, yeah, you're looking at SPP Ronnie, Sewin, Steel Curtain, and Go Luck Yourself. 4 spots only separated by 2 points. So the top 4 separated only by 4 points altogether. Me in 4th with 72 points. I had a shot at first, but thank you, New England, for letting me down. I had 16 on New England. It cost me 1st place for the week. Mammal Cat's in 3rd for the week with 74 points, whose 3 points on Pittsburgh propelled her into the top 3. Now, Thug and Harmony gets 2nd, and I'm sure that came down to something to do with the points or something, because they tied actually for 1st place with 76 points. But Yahoo ended up giving them 2nd. And 1st place, and congratulations, goes to Wilvis. He's another person that can thank the Steelers for getting them to the top, as he had 11 points on them to propel them from about the middle of the list straight to the top. So there you go.
I think the reason why he got the edge is he had the better accuracy, a 63% to a 52%.
Wow. Dang, man. I'm telling you, the only chance I've ever had to beat Wilvis at these is because of the weights. It's not like he screws up on the weights, but sometimes if you miss one of those games and you have a big number on them, it can be the factor between.
Well, I'm just going to put this out there. I mean, I gave you guys enough leadway. And, I'm getting ready to pull out the 80 and 90% right picks.
Oh boy!
Because I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm coming for you.
Oh, watch out!
I was I was distracted making picks. I'm pretty sure my daughter made maybe a week picks. I don't know. She was playing on my phone. She screwed me up.
Uh-huh.
But what I'm saying is, I'm coming for you. Nobody worry. I will be in the top 5 by the end of the season.
Hobo Samurai coming through.
The Hobo Samurai, he is channeling his inner Splinter, and he is namasteing his way.
All right. So let's take a look at the overall standings real quick. We have some close races for positions right now. Freebird and Raider Nation separated by 3 points for that 13th spot. Hobo Samurai trying to make up ground, but sitting all by themselves in 12th right now. 11 through 9 separated by 10 points, and that race is between Sawin, Perfect Storm, and Thug and Harmony. 9 points between the 5 spots of 8th through 4th. Okay? I know that's a lot of numbers, but there's only 9 points between 8th and 4th right now. And those 5 spots include Totally 80s Pat, Mamaw Cat, a tie for 5th between Steel Curtain and Dwayne Williams, and myself in 4th. And to round out our top 3, there are only 6 single points that separate Go Luck Yourself, NFL Super Pro, and our new leader overall, Wilvis. So real quick, top improvers were Wilvis, who went up 2 spots, and Stizzy, who went up 2 spots as well in the overall. And really only 4 people dropped a spot, which was pretty much the most anyone fell in the overall. And if I remember looking at it correctly, the bottom half has not changed from week 2 to week 3 in the overall. Now, that could definitely change. As close as some of these races are going into week 4, we have a very good possibility that someone could jump 2, maybe 3 spots. Also, remember, we're heading into week 4, and the buys are getting ready to start. Apparently, just from what I saw, I think there's only 15 games next week. So that would mean that 2 teams are on a bye.
I know Carolina's on a bye this week.
Okay. All right. So 15 games. So be ready. We're losing that 16-point game that we could make some ground with, and that's going to be spread out for the next few weeks. Make your picks. Accuracy is definitely going to count, and the right weights. So, all right, Teasley, we're getting ready to close this show out, buddy. Let's talk about as suggested by Pat Mullen last week. He says you ought to make every guest do this, and I plan on doing it. Let's look at week 4, and I want you to pick what's the team that's definitely, what's your lock, man?
My lock this week is going to be the Baltimore Ravens over Pittsburgh.
Oh, my goodness. That's definitely going to happen. Now, where are they playing at? I don't have...
Pittsburgh.
They're going into Pittsburgh, and Baltimore is going to beat them.
Yep.
All right, then. Tell us your big upset of the week. If that's your lock, I'm curious as to what the upset's going to be.
My upset of the week is, I don't know if everybody would consider this upset. I mean, it's a 62% persuasion on Yahoo right now. But I'm going to say my upset because, well, no, they're giving points, so I won't call that an upset. So my upset's going to be, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
I'm going to take the Browns going into the black hole and beating the Raiders.
I love it. I love it. Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield going into Oakland and making a statement, sending those Raiders off into that good night.
Yeah, this may cause a rift between you and Pat.
Oh,
he became a Raiders fan.
Yes, he did, and I told him that we are going to be revisiting things next week. So he will be coming back on after, in the aftermath of Cleveland-Oakland. So we'll see who has bragging rights and who's going to be crying about their team. So I'm ready. I'm ready for it. I hope that we can get it done. So I love hearing that from you, Teasley. I'm glad you're taking them as the upset of the week. I think it's time to get out of here. And I first off want to appreciate you coming on here. I know it was last minute. I got a hold of you yesterday, and you said you'd come on here and do the show with me, and I appreciate that greatly. So why don't you got some stuff to plug here before we head on out?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can join me Wednesday. Usually it's Wednesday night. We record Wednesday night. It usually drops Thursday morning, I am 1/4 of the roundtable over on W2M for the kickoff, where we discuss college football, pro football, everything in and out of football. And maybe, just maybe, I could get a hold of me and Brandon Biscobee can tie down a schedule and actually get fantasy football to the max up and running. For all your podcasting needs, shoot over to the W2M network. You've got wrestling, we've got MMA, we've got football, we've got 2 football shows over there, we've got video games, we've got a lot of stuff. And there's a guy over there that I kind of remember. He used to be part of the Cheap Seats, and he's part of the W2M network. His name's Robert Cooper. I haven't heard from him in almost 2 years. I'm hopefully Lowe's has not sucked his soul dry. So hopefully, maybe somebody will go over and, give him a shout out. Tell him Teasley loves him and misses him and won't lock him in a dry room to sleep for the night.
All right, Teasley, I love it, man. Thanks again for coming on here. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Pigskin Pick'em 2018 Week 3 rundown. We'll be talking to you come Week 4. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. We're out of here. Have a good one. Bye-bye.